If you're a veteran or an everyday runner who lives to get stronger and faster, this is for you. Here's why you need to stop training like a bodybuilder and what to do instead to run faster, hurt less, and actually recover. I'm Dr. Ray Peralta, physical therapist, run coach, and Marine veteran. For the past almost 10 years now, I've been helping runners and fellow military veterans get pain relief, rebuild strength, and set PRs. Today, I'm going to show you how to strength train smarter, not harder, so lifting helps your endurance, your running performance, instead of wrecking it. See, there are three problems with bodybuilding style for military veterans who are into running and just everyday runners in general. And there's a better way to train. There's a better way to strength train. See, a lot of veterans who run get sidelined each year. And, it varies in terms of the research, but in the clinic as a physical therapist, most of the sport injuries I see people coming in like, oh, I got a sport injury is usually running related injuries. Like, oh, I did this run thing and then now I'm getting some knee pain. But then they don't realize what else they're doing outside of running that is contributing to their knee pain or their ankle pain. See, strength training is one of the best tools we have to reduce injury risk by improving muscle strength, tendon resilience, and joint stability. If you program it right, I've seen people just doing the proper strength training clear up like 70% of injuries. Right? But the thing is, you have to do the right style of strength training. So problem number one, when you're training like a bodybuilder, doing these routines, is constant muscle fatigue with bodybuilding style sessions, right? So bodybuilders typically, they may vary, of course, all styles, but when I think of the bodybuilder, I think of like the bodybuilder spending like 2 hours plus in the gym, right? Doing multiple sets, right? 4 sets, 6 sets per muscle group, per do exercise, leaving their legs trashed. And then the recovery suffers, right? If you're trying to train like a bodybuilder, aerobic work suffers and your pace stalls, right? You're going to have dead legs, and progress, and you might lead to overtraining and lead to overtraining injuries. See, what a lot of people don't realize that most people who, these bodybuilders are doing like 2 hour plus sessions, either that's all they do as their main sport, or they're often on anabolic steroids, which helps boost up recovery, right? So you're like, oh man, how do they do these intense bodybuilding 2 hour plus sessions where they wreck their body, day after day, or like 6 days a week, 2 hour plus sessions? They're often on steroids. Hate to break it to you. Not all of them, okay? Don't come at me if you're a bodybuilder. Not all of you guys, but there are some bodybuilders for sure who are on steroids. So one, you have to cut the volume, especially if you're a veteran who's into endurance sports like running or triathlons. You want to cut the volume, right? So instead of doing these 2 hour plus bodybuilding sessions, do one hard set per exercise, right? Go to near failure or train to momentary muscular fatigue. Cap the time limit. Again, you don't have to spend 2 hours in the gym. You can actually do a full body routine in like 20 or 30 minutes, even if you rest 1 or 2 minutes in between exercise. Let's say you're doing squat, then you rest a minute or two, then you do leg extension and so forth, right? And then schedule your strength workouts wisely. Usually you want to space it out like a day in between like hard runs or long runs or speed workouts, or at least have a gap. Let's say you do a morning run session and then maybe 6 hours or later, like in the evening, then you do your strength training session, right? At least space it out. There's some like time in between, right? Again, you don't have to be in the gym spending 2 hours plus, and you could also train from home. You could get like dumbbells and stuff, but I understand if that's not feasible, you can go to the gym, but you don't have to do these bodybuilding 2 hour plus routines. Problem number two, stagnant speed and endless plateaus. If you're trying to, run fast, but you're fatigued day after day, right? You're running on where your legs feel like bricks, you're going to hit a plateau. See, lifting shouldn't compete with your quality run workouts. So to help remedy this, one, you should just be doing strength training, especially if you're an older runner or a veteran who's a bit older with nagging injuries. Strength train, 2 days per week is good enough for most veterans and runners who just want to get enough strength to enjoy the sport of running. Like, you're not trying to be the elite of the elite. 2 days per week. Now, sure, if you're trying to like maximize performance, you're trying to reach full potential, you may want to do 3 or 4 days per week. Let's say you have like a lagging area, like a very weak spot. Let's say your knees are particularly weak. You may do that a third day or even a fourth day per week. But for the most part, if you're relatively healthy, you're just a recreational hobby jogger, hobby runner, veteran who just likes to run for fun, you could get away with strength training. And I'd say at the minimum, just 2 days per week. Again, you want to train your major muscle groups at least 2 days per week. Do wave intensity. That means you could have like a heavy day and then a lighter day working on kind of speed strength workout, right? So you could do heavy squats, right? Very heavy, slow and heavy squats, like let's say 6 to 8 rep range. And then other day, you may actually do speed squats. Maybe you're doing like 15, 20, 25 reps of speed squats, or even doing jump squats. So you're doing both kind of speed or power days, but also heavy, slow strength training days. So you're kind of alternating, you're waving the types of, even though it looks like the same exercise, you're actually doing a different style depending how heavy you're loading it and the speed of movement. And then prioritize your runs. If your goal is to optimize for endurance, right, for cardio, for running, triathlons, etc., put strength training after the run portion. So, right, so if you're gonna do them back to back, and you can if you're doing single set routine, right, it's not gonna be too time consuming. Let's say you go on a run workout, your run takes about like 30 minutes or so. And then right after, you may rest a little bit or just jump right into a strength training session. And then that strength training session, another 20, 30 minutes, and you could get your whole workout in an hour. That's fine. I just say put the run first, because then you wanna do it while you're kind of freshest. You're not so fatigued. Your nervous system isn't fatigued from the strength workout. And this will also help you decrease potential risk of injury with running. Because what happens is you try to do like a quality run workout and you're fatigued. Now you're putting yourself at risk of injury, because now you kind of misstep, or you kind of, you're not even realize you kind of miscalculate with how much force you have to put through. And then boom, you kind of set off like some potential injury in your knee or your ankle or what have you. So, Marine veteran who I was working with in my program, he kept missing, his goals with running. Right, he was trying to get a bit faster. I think he was trying to run like a sub 7-minute mile, and he's like doing all this training. Right, he was also doing bodybuilding style workouts. The thing is, he was overtrained. Right, he was doing high volume running plus high volume strength training. There wasn't that much room for recovery. Right, your body grows and adapts when you have time for recovery. If you're training all the time, you're not barely sleeping, you're not getting enough recovery days. Yeah, it's going to be hard to make progress. So what we modify things, had him cut his gym time in half from like 2 hours to like just 30 minutes, more than half actually. And like 3 weeks later, his legs felt springy, and then he like PR'd his 2 mile time trial. He was hitting that 7-minute pace, sub 7-minute pace that he was after. Problem number 3, higher injury risk from aesthetic only work, right? Chasing that muscle pump, right? Just chasing that pump like a bodybuilder often ignores the demands of running or endurance sports, right? So oftentimes bodybuilders tend to do exercises that kind of just isolate muscle groups and then kind of ignore like performance or athletic performance, especially for endurance sports, right? So often they're not doing like single leg stability, working on tendon stiffness, tendon reaction strength, like power training, force production. So oftentimes, sure, they train their legs, but they often over fatigue them, and they often skip these functional exercises or functional work, which is a recipe for imbalance, especially now you're trying to add running on top of that. Cranky calves, cranky knees, hip issues. So the fix is, sure, you could do isolation works, right? Hey, I like to run, and I'll also do some bicep curls as well, but also do functional exercise as well. Things like split squats, jump squats, right? So we're also getting power, reactive strength. Because many bodybuilders don't do kind of these functional style of exercise as well. So add these functional exercises, kettlebell, farmer's walk, suitcase carries, sled drags, right? So you also want to do different styles of functional type exercise where you're carrying, hip hinging, squatting, pulling, pushing. That way your body's getting more balanced in its muscle groups and help decrease injury risks. And then obviously when you're trying to prioritize with running, it's going to be a lot of single leg work, like single leg squats, single leg deadlifts, single leg calf raises, right? You want quality reps versus junk volume, whether it's junk volume in the gym, right? Junk reps, or junk volume with running with junk miles. You always want quality over just junk volume. And the better, simple way to train, right? It's functional, it's time efficient, right? So step 1, reduce your sets. So instead of doing multiple sets, like, 3+, 5+ sets, just go all the way down to 1 set. Sure, you could do a warm-up set if you really have to, but you really just need a 1 quality working set per exercise or per muscle group, right? To near failure if you're only doing a single set. And it's showing me if you're doing full body, you're doing like 20, 30 minutes. And if you're splitting the bike, you actually could do single set with split body. I think it'd take you like 10 or 15 minutes. Right. So I do recommend full body. That way you don't forget about it. Life doesn't get in the way. Do full body routine at least twice a week. If you notice that you have a particularly lagging area, you go ramp it up to even 3 times or even 4 times a week. Let's say your knees are particularly weak, right? You could add more knee exercise and you just kind of spread it out throughout the week. So for squats, right, you got the squat variations: barbell squat, dumbbell squat, goblet squat, kettlebell squat, split squats, back squats, etc. Hinges, right? So this is for deadlifting, single leg deadlift, Romanian deadlift, hip thrusting, bridges, lateral frontal plane work. We got side lunges, lateral step downs, side plank with hip abduction, carry, farmer's walk, suitcase carries, right? So you could do with the carries, you may repeat them. That's a little different than the single set work because now it's kind of a little bit of endurance, strength endurance. However, you could do this at the end. It's kind of like either at the very beginning as part of a warm up circuit for the strength workout, or at the end of as like a finisher. So you do like a finisher workout. So let's say you do your main lifts, your full body routine, and then you can do like a finisher, farmer's walk, suitcase carries, sled drags, etc. And then other options you could do choose from, right? You could also use machines, right? You could do leg extension, leg curl machine, leg press machine, hip abduction machine. And then you could do exercise like off a step, right? Single leg calf raise, or off a step or deficits, or a ramp, a decline board. Same thing with the squats, like a squat off a decline board, single leg squat. And then Nordics and reverse Nordics. Nordics target the hamstring, Nordic curl, and reverse Nordics target quads. Right. And then you always want to make sure you pair with mobility. You want to do mobility work for any tight or stiff areas, and stay consistent, right? At least 2 times a week. Space it out between hard workouts like hard runs or long runs, or fast runs. And then you can obviously modify the rep ranges. Again, heavy, higher reps, right? So heavy reps, heavy weight with like lower reps, 6 to 8 rep range. And then lighter weight, but higher reps, or more speed type of workouts, maybe 15, 25 rep range, or certain muscle groups too. Sometimes with the calves, you just have to do like high reps because calves are a smaller muscle group, but you could actually, oftentimes they have a bit more endurance in them. So you do like speed workouts, but you could also do heavy as well. So you could mix and match, vary the days. And then typically every 8 to 12 weeks, you should be seeing noticeable changes in your speed and your strength. And if you're not, revisit your plan and figure out, hey, what you're doing differently. How can you improve it? Are you being consistent? Have an honest kind of reflection with yourself. Okay. And you could also do split routine, right? You could split it up, upper body, lower body days. So you may have like 2 lower body days throughout the week, and then 2 separate upper body days throughout the week. So then you have like a 4-day training cycle, or strength training week, and that's fine too. Whatever fits your schedule. With the split routine, which is nice, is it takes less time doing that particular day. So you may go for the run and do a split routine that's so let's say you just hit lower body after your run. That lower body doesn't even have to take too long. It'd be like 10 or 15 minutes if you're doing single sets of fatigue. So lifting should leave you fresher for your runs, not more tired. And again, if I was being serious, I think I mentioned this earlier, skip the anabolic steroids unless there's a legitimate medical condition, like you have like low testosterone or something like that. See, rapid muscle gains without matching the tendon ligament adaptation can lead to higher risk of strains and even ruptures. Strong and durable beats big and brittle. So oftentimes people who take, steroids, anabolic steroids, or take testosterone when it's not medically necessary, right? Like they supplement, take whatever injectables and stuff, or maybe they lie to their doctors, whatever, and get these drugs. What tends to happen, they often are at risk for tendon injuries. I see people coming in with quad tendon ruptures, Achilles tendon, rotator cuff ruptures, because they're taking these anabolic steroids, and then also training like bodybuilder, and then also trying to run, and they're doing all this high volume work. So now, again, unless it's medically necessary, don't take these things. Okay, great. So if you're looking for additional guidance, if you're like, hey, what's the kind of routine I can do? I kind of went over it. But if you want more information, I have a free course. So you can check that out. It's a link in the description. And I do also want to clarify that sometimes people ask me, hey, is one set enough? Yes, it is. If you go to true muscle fatigue, muscle failure, and you try to progress every week or so. So every 1 or 2 weeks, once you hit your goal rep range, try to go up a little heavier. So let's say your goal is 12 reps for the workout and you easily hit it. Try to go up in weight. So then it's a little harder the next workout, and keep doing that. You try to add either like maybe 1% or 5% to the bar or the plates or the dumbbell, whatever you're doing, or reps, etc. As you keep trying to progressively challenging it week by week. Don't just stay the same week after week. And if you only have bands, you could also get great, phenomenal shape with doing bands. You either may have to get heavier bands if you outgrown your lighter bands, but you can, in fact, strength training with resistance bands. And there's actually a great systems. Like I'm a big fan of the X3 bar system. So it's a band and bar system as well. And yes, you could do core exercises can be integrated as part of the strength training. You could do some core exercise movements like sit-ups, planks, side planks, etc. They could be part of your strength day. So I like to pair core with full body routine. You get it all done, or core with upper body, or core with lower body. There's many ways to program it. So anyhow, back to if you need more help with just being pain-free, whether it's running, lifting, I have a free course. I have like a free 5-day intro course. You can check out the link in the description. And I'm also doing a 28-day Operation Pain-Free. So if you're looking for a rapid pain relief, you can find me on Instagram or join my school community and just DM me OPF for Operation Pain Free, that you're interested in getting pain relief.